A very good evening. You're watching News Tonight on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Tina Jha. Let's begin with the top stories of the day. More than enough currency in circulation and banks. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley says sudden withdrawals have created a temporary cash crunch in some areas. Economic Affairs Secretary discloses that printing of 500 rupee notes has been increased 5 times to 2,500 crore rupees a day. India and Sweden to strengthen strategic innovation partnership. Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds bilateral talks with Swedish counterpart Stephen Löfven. Both sides decide to increase cooperation in defence and security matters. Government to push for reservation in government jobs for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. Union Minister Ram Vilas Paswan says centre to seek repeal of Supreme Court directions halting reservations may bring an ordinance later. IMF predicts 7.4% GDP growth in 2018 and 7.8% in 2019. India to regain its position as the fastest growing major economy, as China is estimated to grow at 6.6% and 6.4% in the next 2 years. And Delhi Lieutenant Governor Anil Baijal removes 9 advisors of Aam Aadmi Party ministers in the state, says the posts had not been approved by the Union Ministry. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held bilateral talks with his Swedish counterpart Stephen Löfven on Tuesday. Both held a fruitful discussion on issues related to cooperation in innovation, trade and investment and culture. They also exchanged views on regional and multilateral cooperation. Following the talks, India and Sweden signed the Joint Innovation Partnership and Joint Action Plan. Here's a detailed report. Prime Minister Narendra Modi held wide-ranging talks with his Swedish counterpart Stephen Löfven in Stockholm on Tuesday. Both countries agreed to deepen their collaboration through a strategic innovation partnership. 2 documents, Innovation Partnership and Joint Action Plan, were finalized to maximize bilateral cooperation for the benefit of the people. Prime Minister Modi said both sides focused on how Sweden can help India in its development journey.
आज हमने एक इनोवेशन पार्टनरशिप और जॉइंट एक्शन प्लान पर सहमति की है। इनोवेशन, इन्वेस्टमेंट, स्टार्टअप्स, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग आदि हमारी साझेदारी के प्रमुख आयाम हैं। इनके साथ हम रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी, अर्बन ट्रांसपोर्ट, वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट जैसे अनेक विषयों पर भी ध्यान दे रहे हैं।
India and Sweden also agreed to strengthen their defense and security cooperation.
रक्षा क्षेत्र में स्वीडन बहुत लंबे समय से भारत का साझेदार रहा है और मुझे विश्वास है कि भविष्य में भी इस क्षेत्र में विशेष रूप से रक्षा उत्पादन में हमारे सहयोग के लिए कई नए अवसर पैदा होने वाले हैं।
Löfven praised India as a global power and said the two countries are a perfect match. He added there is greater cooperation in areas like green technology and smart cities between India and Sweden.
India is aiming for an unprecedented economic transformation, including in manufacturing as well as in digital development. And Sweden has many sustainable and innovative solutions to offer. I'm talking about green technology, smart cities, and innovation as part of our cooperation. And at the end of the day, it's about creating jobs and a sustainable economic growth.
The joint declaration on Sweden-India innovation partnership will cover cooperation across a wide spectrum, ranging from the creation of effective innovation systems to the commercialization of new technologies. The partnership will be in areas like smart cities, transportation, e-mobility, energy, clean technologies, space, bio-based economy, health and life sciences. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. Earlier, Prime Minister Modi called on Swedish King Carl XVI Gustaf. Both exchanged views on strengthening bilateral cooperation across several sectors. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval was also present during the meeting. Prime Minister Modi arrived in Stockholm late on Monday. It is the first bilateral visit by an Indian Prime Minister to the Nordic nation in 30 years. And our Foreign Affairs editor Akhilesh Suman joins us on the phone line from London. Akhilesh, since you're in London, let's talk about the summit-level talks between Prime Minister Modi and his British counterpart Theresa May, which will be held tomorrow. What all can we expect from the summit-level talks?
Actually, Tina, the main theme of the summit is technology. And technology is one of the major strengths of United Kingdom. And India, though, had been collaborating with United Kingdom for a long time, now there is a stress to strengthen this further. Because you know that India is being seen by many of the countries and almost all developed countries as not only a country that has developed very fast and developing very fast, but also they see that there is many greenfield area in this country which can be tapped, and there are many skilled young people who can be utilized. So technology is one of the major themes of talks between both the prime ministers. And other than technology, you know that Commonwealth Summit is going to be held day after tomorrow. And Commonwealth, since this meeting is taking place before Commonwealth Summit, you can understand that the major part of the talks will also be relying on the Commonwealth issue. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to attend the Commonwealth Summit after a long time, almost 9 years after that. So India and UK will have to make some joint strategy about how to correlate with all the 52 Commonwealth nations. One is out of it, so now it is 52. 53 is the original number. So this is going to be the two-pronged strategy. One is political, that how India and Britain can cooperate in tapping the energy of Commonwealth countries for democratization, against terrorism, and for development. Right. And the other theme is technology-related part and finance-related part, trade-related part. That is the theme.
Also, Akhilesh, earlier in the day, you pointed out that the relationship between India and Britain over the last few years has become very stagnant. So how are both countries working towards making it more dynamic and also development-friendly?
Yeah, that is the whole thing, you know, that, Tina, that, there was a change of guard in UK. And then before Theresa May, there was Mr. David Cameron. And then it came to be the Brexit. And after Brexit, UK itself was facing many of the pressures and polls. And so now UK has realized that India is the biggest market, biggest democracy. So it can be utilized for both British development and also Indian development. So now understanding has developed in Britain that you cannot ignore India being the biggest democracy, also the transparent administrative system. And then there is a population, under 30 population. We are one of the most young countries in the world. So Britain has now realized, and it should be dynamic relationship between the two countries.
All right, Akhilesh, many thanks for joining us and giving us those details on the story. We'll keep coming back to you for more details and more updates on that story. Moving on in the bulletin, dispelling concerns over currency shortage in ATMs, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley said there is more than adequate currency in circulation. Jaitley also clarified that the shortage is temporary and caused due to sudden and unusual increase in demand in some parts of the country. Steps are being taken to ensure that ATMs are supplied with cash and non-functional ATMs are normalized at the earliest. Amid reports that many ATMs had run out of cash in several states, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley assured there is more than adequate currency in circulation. In a tweet, Jaitley said that overall there was more than adequate currency in circulation and also available with the banks. The temporary shortage caused by sudden and unusual increase in demand in some areas is being tackled quickly. The government also assured that it would supply adequate currency notes to meet even higher levels of demand if such demand were to continue in the coming days or months.
इस समय भी हमारे पास 1.25 लाख करोड़ रुपए की कैश करेंसी है, उसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। प्रॉब्लम एक आई है जिसको हमको भी सीधे तौर पर स्वीकार करने में कोई चल रही है कि कुछ राज्यों में जो है पैसे अधिक हो गए, कुछ में कम हो गए हैं। तो उसके लिए हमने एक गवर्नमेंट ने कमेटी बनाया है, स्टेट वाइज कमेटी बना दिया है, और रिजर्व बैंक अपने भी एक कमेटी बना करके वो ये कर रहा है कि पैसा एक स्टेट से दूसरे स्टेट को ट्रांसफर किया है, क्योंकि बिना रिजर्व बैंक के अनुमति के वो पैसे ट्रांसफर नहीं किए जा सकते हैं। तो उसका हम कर दिए हैं। ये मुझे लगता है कि 2-3 दिन के अंदर ही पूरा का पूरा हम उसको वो कर लेंगे।
2.5-3 लाख करोड़ की करेंसी अपने स्टॉक में रखते हैं, इतनी तैयारी हमारी रहती है, और वो तैयारी बहुत एडिक्वेट है, बहुत पर्याप्त है कि देश में करेंसी की किसी भी सिचुएशन के हिसाब से उसको मुकाबला किया जा सके, उसको फेस कर सकें।
In the first 13 days of April, the currency supply increased by 45,000 crores. The unusual spurt in demand is seen more in some parts of the country like Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Karnataka, MP and Bihar. RBI data in February showed that the currency in circulation in the country was at 99% of pre-demonetization level. The total currency in circulation stood at 17.78 trillion rupees on 16th February 2018. Before demonetization, the total currency in circulation was 17.97 trillion rupees.
Hoarding of 2,000 rupees notes may not be hoarding for that matter. It could be just the safety psychosis of the Indian population at large. The festivals which is happening, you have the festivals, Bihu is there, and then you have Baisakhi, and then you have the Karnataka election.
Meanwhile, the RBI also clarified there was no currency shortage. It, however, added that the shortage may be felt in some pockets, largely due to logistical issues of replenishing ATMs frequently and the recalibration of ATMs still underway. The Finance Ministry held a meeting with the RBI officials last week to ensure there was no large-scale hoarding of cash. The Finance Ministry officials also held consultations with state officials and bank heads to assuage concerns on currency crunch. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV. And the issue of cash crunch led to a war of words between the government and the opposition party. Let's listen in to what some leaders had to say on the situation.
Modi has destroyed the banking system of the country. That's what I have to say about it. नीरव मोदी 30,000 करोड़ रुपए लेके भाग गया। नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने एक शब्द नहीं कहा। देश की पूरी जनता को लाइन में लगाया। आपके जेब में से 500 रुपए, 1000 रुपए का नोट छीना, नीरव मोदी जी के जेब में डाला। प्रधानमंत्री एक शब्द नहीं कहते, पार्लियामेंट में खड़े होने से डरते हैं।
ये डीमोनेटाइजेशन ममता बनर्जी ने फर्स्ट डे से बोल रहा है। अभी फिर लाइन लग गया, फिर 2000 रुपया का नोट नहीं मिल रहा है, फिर सबको परेशानी हो रहा है, अभी फिर ये प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है। अभी हम सुन रहे हैं फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर स्टेटमेंट दे रहा है, स्टेटमेंट से अभी काम नहीं चलेगा, अभी परेशानी में सब है, ये फाइनेंशियल इमरजेंसी है।
2000 रुपए के नोट जो लगभग 7 लाख करोड़ की करेंसी है, इसमें से आउट ऑफ सर्कुलेशन होने के कारण ही दिक्कत आई है। सब जगह व्यवस्थाएं हैं, हर जिले में पैसा जा रहा है, जितनी कमी नहीं हो उससे ज्यादा उसकी चर्चा है।
जनता की समस्याओं से राहुल गांधी और कांग्रेस पार्टी को कोई मतलब नहीं है। राहुल गांधी उन बड़े अरबपति करोड़पति के साथ हैं जिनके साथ कई मिलकर उन्होंने कांग्रेस पार्टी ने बड़े बड़े स्कैम्स किए हैं। तो जब काले धन पर इस प्रकार के सरकार के द्वारा बड़ा प्रहार हुआ, उसमें कांग्रेस पार्टी और राहुल गांधी बहुत बड़ी बौखलाहट में है।
A parliamentary panel summoned Reserve Bank Governor Urjit Patel on the 17th of May to answer queries on a spate of banking scams and the mounting bad loans in the system. The Standing Committee on Finance, headed by senior Congress leader M. Veerappa Moily, at its meeting raised several queries related to the banking sector with Financial Services Secretary Rajiv Kumar. Former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, who is a member of the committee, also attended the meeting. The RBI governor recently said the central bank did not have adequate powers to deal with public sector banks, on which the panel has asked what kind of powers does the bank need. The Finance Ministry officials gave part replies to queries of the lawmakers, and they have been given 3 weeks' time to file a complete report on their questions. Sushil Modi, chairman of the group of ministers on GST, said on Tuesday that e-way bills will be mandatory for intra-state trade in respect of 6 more states from the 20th of April. The 6 states are Bihar, Jharkhand, Haryana, Madhya Pradesh, Tripura and Uttarakhand. The GST provision requires transporters to carry an electronic way bill when moving goods between states. E-way bill system for intra-state movement of goods was implemented from the 15th of April in 5 states of Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Kerala, Telangana and Uttar Pradesh.
Each commissioner will designate a proper officer to conduct interception and inspection of goods in their jurisdiction. सारे ऑफिसर से काम नहीं करेंगे, जो डेजिग्नेटेड ऑफिसर्स होंगे वही इंटरसेप्शन और इंस्पेक्शन का काम करेंगे. E-way bill can be carried in form of printout, SMS or may be written on an invoice.
India is expected to grow at 7.4% in 2018 and 7.8% in 2019. The International Monetary Fund projected that India is expected to grow at such rates, leaving China behind at 6.6% and 6.4% respectively. According to the IMF, India will re-emerge as one of the fastest growing economies in the world. The IMF said India has made progress on structural reforms in the recent past, including implementation of GST, which will help reduce internal barriers to trade, increase efficiency and improve tax compliance. While the IMF projected the global growth to tick up to 3.9% in next 2 years due to strong momentum and favorable market sentiment, it warned that trade disputes threaten to undermine confidence and also derail global growth. Time for a short break on News Tonight, but news and updates will continue on the other side.
As on today, the inland fisheries contribute 65% of the fish production of the India. So we are one of the propagating the inland sectors, the productivity enhancement, which is we are looking with the state governments. We have categorized 100 Nutri-Fish Index. If you take this fish, then instead of taking the capsules for the micronutrient vitamins, and you can reduce that thing.
Watch Eureka with Dr. B.K. Das, Director ICAR, Central Inland Fisheries Research Institute, Kolkata, at Saturday 4 p.m. and Sunday 12 noon, only on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. News now from the pole-bound state of Karnataka. Filing of nomination papers for the May 12 election to Karnataka Legislative Assembly has begun with the issue of notification. The last date for filing nomination papers is the 24th of April, while the scrutiny will take place on the 25th of April. The last date for withdrawal of candidature is 27th April. The ruling Congress, which is making a bid to retain power, has released a list of 218 candidates, while the BJP and JDS are leaving no stone unturned to defeat the ruling party. The BJP has come out with Vision 150 to secure 150 seats in the 225-member assembly. The BJP released its second list of 82 candidates on Monday, taking the number of seats for which it has declared its nominees to 154. Counting of votes will be held on the 15th of May. And on to some other news. In an effort to reach out to the Dalit community, Union Minister Ramvilas Paswan on Tuesday said the government will move the Supreme Court for quota in promotion for SC/STs. Paswan, who is a member of a group of ministers constituted for issues involving these communities, also said the government is open to bringing an ordinance. His announcement follows the government's decision to file pleas in the Apex Court against its 2 orders, which it has argued would work against the interests of the SCs and the STs. Paswan said the court has ruled in favor of reservation for SCs and STs in promotion, but also introduced several conditions which have led to non-implementation of quota guidelines. According to these guidelines, state and central governments have to verify backwardness and efficiency for employees to be benefited from reservation in promotion rules. The Supreme Court on Tuesday asked the centre to decide in 3 months on demands for framing of safety guidelines for all schools. The top court said the decision taken by the government should cover both public and private schools. The court has directed the Ministry of Human Resources and Development to look into the matter. The Supreme Court said the court was not an expert on framing of policy or guidelines for schools, and it would be appropriate if the government looks into the cause raised in various writ petitions. The PILs were filed by a father of a 7-year-old boy who was killed in a Gurgaon school and some lawyers. The government on Tuesday informed the Supreme Court that a high-profile committee led by the Prime Minister met on the 10th of April to recommend an eminent jurist to help in the selection of a Lokpal. The Supreme Court was hearing a contempt petition filed by an NGO which had raised the issue of non-appointment of Lokpal despite the Apex Court's verdict of the 27th of April last year. The Supreme Court observed that since steps for the appointment of Lokpal had already been taken, there was no need to pass any further order at this stage. The court, however, urged the government to complete the Lokpal appointment process at the earliest. Senior advocate P.P. Rao was earlier appointed as an eminent jurist in the committee, but the post fell vacant after he passed away last year. The court scheduled the matter for further hearing on the 15th of May. And the tussle between the Aam Aadmi Party government and the centre further escalated on Tuesday with the cancellation of appointment of 9 advisors to Delhi ministers. According to the Union Home Ministry, these posts were not sanctioned. It said that these posts on which the appointees are officiating are not in the list of posts approved for the ministers and the Chief Minister of Delhi. Among the 9 advisors whose appointment has been cancelled are Raghav Chadda and Atishi Marlena. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has said innovative practices are needed to make the farm sector sustainable and profitable. Addressing the Golden Jubilee Year celebration program of Assam Agricultural University in Jorhat on Tuesday, the Vice President said achieving self-sufficiency in pulses and oilseeds is a challenge before the country, but with the dedication demonstrated by our agriculturists and the cutting-edge research being conducted in our laboratories, we will achieve self-sufficiency even in these 2 crops. The Vice President called on scientists and governments to encourage farmers to diversify and take up allied activities like poultry, dairy farming and fisheries, adding that increasing only production may not encourage people to join farming.
Farmers who toil in the farm should be empowered with knowledge, financial credit, warehousing and insurance facilities. They need to be provided the know-how and do-how. Know-how is required, do-how also is required to improve the farm productivity. That's what the universities are expected to provide. We need to ensure that they do so even more efficiently in the years to come. We need to rethink, revitalize agriculture, education and research.
India won an election to a crucial non-government organization committee at the United Nations. On Monday, the UN's Economic and Social Council held elections to a number of its subsidiary bodies in which India got the highest number of votes in 5 separate polls. In the Asia-Pacific states category, India got the highest number of votes at 46, while Pakistan got 43, followed by Bahrain and China with 40 and 39 votes respectively. India was also elected to the Commission on Population and Development and to the Commission for Social Development. India was among the 17 members elected by acclamation to the Commission on Crime Prevention and Criminal Justice. Following the elections, India's permanent representative to the UN, Syed Akbaruddin, said the results reflect that India has a broad support of the UN members. And that's it from us in this bulletin. Thanks for your time.